Good morning. So on to the next video, and continuing our BMW K100 build. Just wanted to do an update video on this video just to show how just sort of next steps and what's been done so far. So we have finally got the drive shaft in place, and we finally got the part of the bike back together. So let me show you what's been done. So managed to get the new swing arm in place. So swing arm is now in. Inside the swing arm is the new shaft that I showed in the last video, and the rear differential and shock has gone back on the bike. So the back of the bike starting to look a little bit more like, you know, like an actual motorbike. And I'll show you the drive shaft in action. So we've, as I said, finally got some movement on it. This was the original fault. The original fault came in with wasn't driving the back wheel. Obviously I had the pump issue. Found the problem with the drive shaft. So let me just show you the outcome, guys. So start the bike up. So she starts first time now, and you can see that we've got drive in. We've got some drive in the back wheel, and then if I kick it into first gear and I release the clutch, we've now also got drive on the drive shaft, and I give it a bit of throttle, and the back wheel spins and drives round. So the initial fault that we had, or I had with the bike, with the bike has now been fixed, which is good. The pump in the fuel tank is working as well. We had some smoking yesterday from underneath the exhaust. So just down here below where the spark plugs are is where the exhaust goes in. We had a bit of smoke coming from there yesterday, and it was basically to do with trying to take the whole exhaust off. So that's one of the next jobs, trying to take the whole exhaust off. I sprayed some WD-40 down there, and I think that just started to cause, once it heated up and the exhaust heated up, it started to cause it to smoke. So I slowly yesterday tried to burn that away a little bit. But I've ordered a new exhaust, so another part that has been ordered is a new exhaust. I've gone for like, so it's the OEM exhaust, which is this one here. Goes into 4 and then goes underneath there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really not in great shape. And I'll show you the reason for replacing it. So the actual outer body of it's okay, but this part here is just, I just feel it will fail an MOT on this. So this is the muffler inside the exhaust, and I just think it's too far gone to recover. So I've ordered a new exhaust. The exhaust is on its way, but since I've been doing that, so that's had a job to do, is to try and get that exhaust off. It seems to be almost welded on there from the heat over the years. And then just another job that I wanted to do. So the battery on this bike, for anyone that doesn't know, I guess back in 1989 when they first made the bike, the batteries were a lot smaller. Since then, the battery for this bike is a lot bigger. So this is the battery now. So again, I'll try and show you. I don't know if you can see that very well. But what we've got here is we've got some overhang here on this casing. So this casing here sits on this sort of like a studded bed. The studded bed is a certain size. The battery goes on top, and then screws go in either side of the battery. But what I've got is the battery now is bigger than the bed, so it doesn't actually sit inside that bed, the battery that's on it. thought about buying a new battery, thought about that kind of option, but I decided against it. I decided to continue with the battery that's on it and just sort of model something around the bed that it normally sits on. So what I've come up with is this. So I bought a 3D printer, decided to 3D print a battery case, and this is what came out. So basically what I've done is I've made a box out of this plastic 3D printing stuff, whatever actually it's made out of, with the view that this is going to sit inside the bike, with the battery sitting inside here. You've got the terminal points here that I made, and then the plan is that on the bottom here there'll be another sort of stepped plate that's going to be glued onto this plate here, which will be the bit that sits inside the bike, sits inside that location plate. So it will sit inside the location plate. This will be on top of it. The battery will sit on top of it there. Then across the top, you've got this metal bar that holds it in place. My plan is either to create a lid that goes on this box that the metal plate sits on, or just use some rubber grommets or something just to push the metal plate down onto the battery, which will hold the battery in place. So aesthetically, when you look at the bike, you'll see from the back and from the side, you'll just see this. You'll just see this black kind of box shape like this, and you won't see too much more, which I think looks a lot better than a battery that's just been put in the bike and just rattles around and just is in the bike. So that's kind of just a quick update on what is still to be done with the back of the bike. So the back of the bike still needs to have rear brake pads, brake disc needs to be fitted, new exhaust, and then finally just my little contraption with my side stand. So I took the center stand off, left the side stand on, and have put a new spring on it, greased it all, and it actually, I think it's going to work perfectly. If it doesn't, then that might be something we need to try to look to swap so the bike sits up a bit better. Because what I noticed when I first got the bike was that the side stand actually let the bike lean right over. So when you put it on a side stand, it's like over and over, and you're not sure if the bike's going to topple over. So it might be something we need to adjust, or might be something we need to change, but we can do that. That's kind of the back of the bike. And then once the back of the bike's done, the plan is to get this front end of the bike here rewired. So I don't know if you can see any of this. I think you can, but we had some indicators on the forks here, and you can see there's some rust that started to set in a little bit. So I've basically taken the headlight off, the speedometer off, and then just the side lights as well, the indicator lights, to look to try and rewire this whole kind of setup here. You can see that the forks have been set down a little bit as well. So I'm not sure whether that was from manufacturing, or whether they've done that. Someone's done that to the bike, but I think they've done it so that the bike sits down a little bit lower at the front. My plan is to try and not make this necessarily a cafe racer style bike. It's more going to be trying to make it a little bit more of a cruiser bike. So my plan is to bring those forks back up to the top part here. So that means it will lift the whole of this part here of the bike up onto this place here. And then the aim is to try and potentially put the handlebars back into the original fixings, and then lift this whole piece up so that the handlebars are sitting a little bit higher into this position here, ideally up here somewhere, and then trying to get that nice sitting position on the bike. New indicators have been ordered, so just some LED ones. I think they're better just because they flash brighter, so when you're obviously turning or whatever it might be. So we're going to have LED ones front and back, which may cause a bit of a problem when we fit them, because there was already an issue with the left indicator. The front brake still needs doing. The sensor and the switch for the front brake has come away. So in this position, it just snapped in this hole here. So what I've done is I've managed to find some switches, just some random universal switches from eBay, and the plan is to try and fit those on, and then hopefully that front brake lever, which works, it'll stop you, it just won't tell anyone behind you that you're stopping. So the plan is to try and fix that as well. So that's the kind of next steps really, is exhaust off, let's build the back of the bike up, new pads are coming. Once I've done the back of the bike and hopefully got that bike into a place, the tank will come off, I'll lift the front of the bike up, redo the forks, give the front wheel a good clean as well, redo the front brake pads, and then I can start putting everything back together once I've done that, which means then the bike is almost at a place where kind of, I don't know, mechanically or structurally on the bike, everything is where we want it, and then electronically we can start to I suppose decide if we're going to rewire the whole bike, how that's going to look, but more importantly, get everything working as it should. There's still a few funny things that I can't work out. So that's the next step, guys. So I'm just going to put you on a time lapse, and I'm just going to tinker with a few bits now. So pretty much just taking dimensions of the battery to try and get the housing of the battery right. It's pretty much doing exactly what I wanted it to do, and I think I've got quite a lot of clearance with inside the bike. So this is what it's going to look like. So the battery is going to sit inside this box inside the bike. So I'll just show you again on the bike just whereabouts it goes. So it goes in here. So it sits on this plate inside here. So we've got loads of clearance up here for it to sit up in this position here, but you can see that it locates on this sort of plate here. So my plan is to build the bottom of the box. Couldn't do it in one print. I probably could have if I'd have figured it out. It's just it doesn't seem to like printing, and this is only probably my second print, but it doesn't seem to like printing when there's nothing to support it. So at some point on this, I would have had a bottom layer that wouldn't have been very smooth or very flush. So I've did the box, and with the plan then to fit the securing plate to the bottom of this box. So on the bottom of this box here, there'll be sort of like a step up to one side, positioned right, so that then on the battery, the battery will sit in the bike nicely in there. So so you can see that this is what it's going to look like once it's in the bike. So you won't really see it, but I've just taken the dimensions, and my plan is to leave the terminals free so that you can get to them from here, and you can I've actually done a pretty good job of measuring that. You can see that there's quite a lot of room for the connections or to be for the terminals to come in. But my plan is to then cover it over the top. So let me see if I can grab something that will kind of show what it will look like. So in this position here, you'll have another plate that will just sit over the top there, covering up most of the battery. But if I can get it right, and if I can get the dimensions across correct, it will sit on here, no problem at all. But the lip inside, if I can get that lip correct too, then once it's in that position there, I should be able to sit this plate in, and it will sit on top. And then once that plate's on top, the metal bracket will go over the top. One side will screw through the coolant. There's a coolant bottle here with a level on it. The screw goes through there, which was fine. And this left-hand side one was actually bent. So the screw itself was bent into the hole, because what happens is if you imagine the hole is normally about here, but it's actually only half a hole. You can only see a little bit of it. So what was happening was they were trying to squeeze the battery over and shove a screw into that hole. So my plan is to just cable tie it. It won't move once it's got the location step here. It's got the frame over the top. The frame overlaps a little bit of the lid that's going to be built, and then it will just be a cable tie job in there to just really hold it in place. So that's what it looks like, and then maybe some sort of decal on the front. I don't know. We'll have a look, but that's where we're at with the battery box. So I'll crack on and I'll keep you up to date in a minute. So it's another day, and just going to finish up this video. So the back end is finished. So we finally got the drive shaft on, the rear wheel is back on, and the exhaust is on. So we bought a new exhaust. I bought a new exhaust, and the exhaust is on too. So getting the exhaust off, which I showed in earlier video, trying to get the exhaust off, trying to get the center stand off. Finally got the exhaust off, got the new exhaust on, got the rear wheel on, got the new disc pads in, and it looks pretty cool. So I'm just going to wrap the video up there. I'll quickly show you what it looks like. So rear wheel on, new exhaust is on, and we're starting to move to a place where now the back end mechanically is done. There's obviously some electrical bits and pieces to do, but I've finally got a rear wheel, a brake caliper, brake pad fitted, new exhaust, which one that hopefully will pass an MOT, and now moving on to the front part of the bike, and then finally the electrics. So I'll see you on the next video.